Hello, everybody. Welcome to our forum. Today's forum is for parents and high school students. We're so excited. Today is still Chinese New Year. So for all the people who celebrate this Lunar New Year, we would like to say Happy New Year. And thank you so much for spending your time together with us this afternoon instead of going anywhere else. So today this event is co-organized by Ding TV and Kairos. Kairos is, well, later on you're going to learn about the exciting news about Kairos. But today's event, we want to provide a platform and also the helpful and useful information for the parents and students because there are so many things you need to learn before you go to college. So we have the expert here. We also have the serial entrepreneurs are going to share their experience with you. A little bit about us, Ding TV, and I know that some of you are from Kairos and some of you are from Ding TV, so this is our contact. If you would like to, looking for more information about what we do, and you can contact Sandy at dingtv.com or call this phone number 408-396-2601 and also follow us on WeChat. We are the Silicon Valley Innovation Channel and also the voice of Silicon Valley Asian Americans. We open our platform and collaborations with all kinds of organizations. A little bit about our first speaker here. That's my friend, Rebecca. Yeah. So Rebecca is a co-founder and CEO of Kairos.ai. She previously founded a big data and machine learning startup, Scala. Before Scala, she worked as one of the founding members at Google Cloud for 6 years. Rebecca received her master's degree in engineering and MBA from University of British Columbia. So let's join me and welcome Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all the family and friends who join us today. We want to make sure you are getting useful information. We will use your time judiciously. So first of all, special thanks to Ding TV, especially Diana and Sandy, who put a lot of effort in bringing this audience together. We also have honored guest speakers, which I will get into in just a little bit. Allow me to share my screen so that you can see. Let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can see. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So for the next hour, we will be doing a quick speaker introduction. Then Ben, Ellen, and Rod, they will get into the college prep strategy, also develop an executable for the plan. And we will then share with you what Kairos community is about, what are the support and services that we will be providing you. Now, I must apologize that because of the audience today, we're mainly speaking English. However, for many of the native Chinese speakers, we will reserve the Q&A section for Chinese native speakers to ask questions. 所以第一个非常抱歉哈，今天因为观众比较多，所以我们会用英文讲座，但是到了最后的时候，有问答的时候可以用中文提问。那么如果还有需要的话呢，我们可以设立1对1，可以再详细的解答一些这个 college 的 prep 和我们的这个 Kairos 的这个 platform。所以非常抱歉，我们今天还是以英文讲为主。Now, with that, I do want to quickly introduce today's speakers. My name is Rebecca Yi. I'm the co-founder and the CEO at Kairos. With me today is Cindy Chu, who is our Chief Customer Engagement Officer. Later, she will also send the email reminders and the ways to follow us. How do you communicate with us? A little more about Cindy. She worked at a 2U, which is the ed tech company, a public listed one, for the past few years. And Cindy fully understands the college prep and application processes, as well as the unmet needs, so she can share with you in the follow-up sessions. But more specifically, I would like to introduce our honor speaker, Ben Chen, today. And Ben graduated from Harvard, MIT, and University of Chicago, as well as a Quest Scholar at Stanford University. All the degrees that I wish I could have gotten, but was not able to. Ben also have been spending the last 10 plus years mentoring 200 plus students, high schoolers, international students, and help them to develop their personal interest and deepen their experience for high school, and ultimately result in the successful application to many top-tier universities, including Harvard, Yale, MIT, Stanford, Columbia, etc. So please do use this opportunity to ask them many questions, and they will share their experience, the best practices, what worked, what did not work for those students. Of course, Ben has been very successful in many areas professionally. He also previously worked at McKinsey, Goldman Sachs, and run his own hedge fund. So with that, let me give the floor to Ben, Ellen, and Rod. And this team will walk us through the college prep strategy, as well as how to do it, how to develop an executable plan. Now, let me stop sharing. Oh, I should continue to share, but I will be driving the slides forward. So Ellen, Rod, Ben, take it over from here.
Could you pull up your screen for PPT, for the PowerPoint? I can see your screen. Yeah, sorry.
Got it. Yes.
I have the PowerPoint open. Hey guys, so this is Ben, and we'll be speaking with my team, Alan and Rod. Alan is based in the US, Rod is based in Shanghai, and I'm based in Shanghai as well, but we're not in the same office right now. We're both working from home today. And also Happy New Year to everybody. And also thank you, Rebecca and Cindy and Diana for making this a possible video opportunity for all the parents. So I think I'll jump right into the topic today, which is when and how to write great essays. So that's actually step number 3 already. Prior to that, you have to kind of prepare for 2 extra steps. The first step would be discover what you're good at. And then the second step is execute, do as you said. And finally, it's about telling what you did and why to the admissions officer of the schools that you're applying. And specifically in phase 1, discover what you're good at. That's a long-term process. And I think that's the hardest thing about parenting and also about students discovering what they're interested in. So I would say, do the following, but there is no hard and fast rule with respect to how you want to discover. Some people are naturally, talented or smart, or they're geniuses. Others need time to find out who they are. And I think the majority is the latter. I'm certainly the latter proportion. So the first step would be make a list of projects that you want to try. Try different things. Don't lock yourself to just do math and science because your parents said, 学好数理化，走遍天下都不怕. Some people, while being Chinese, Asian, male, are not necessarily good in math and science. And I think it's a very waste of resources for everybody to do math Olympics, at the whole population level. And if you're interested in humanities, go discover yourself through these projects. Second would be discover your passion and what you're good at while you're making and doing the projects that you want to try. Third is narrow down to 1 or 2 core interests. This is very relevant for top 20 college applicants because that is the main difference between very top schools that have very limited resources. They want to give to the people who can take advantage of the resources versus larger schools and slightly lower ranking schools. Fourth, find resources to create in-depth projects that make you stand out. This is actually critical. And so the attitude really matters a lot. At the place that I help mentor, it's called 求学社. The first word is 求, right? It's you're begging for knowledge, and don't expect people to roll out red carpets for you while you're learning. And doing internships, for example, you're pretty much at the lowest of the totem pole. The last is know what colleges are looking for in you. You have to find your special angle and who you are. The more unique you are and the more specialized you are, I think the higher chance of your getting into school. Now, I think that's different there's a slight difference between US applicants versus Chinese applicants. Fair or not, I think it's more difficult to apply from China. And so you have to even know yourself a bit more if you're applying from China. Moving on to phase 2, execute, do as you said. This is about execution, right? You have strategized, now you need to execute. First, try out in-school clubs. This is risk-free and it's free. And this is mostly the breadth of activities that you need to prepare. Second, possibly attend summer schools. Again, this is not necessary, but it's a way for you to connect with college professors and learn their latest thinking and their latest research. Third is find research assistantship, along with fourth, secure corporate internship. These are important. These are what I call in-depth activities that really could make you stand out. And then fifth, commit to community service, right? So I think in American colleges, community service is a big part of who you are. It's giving back to the community from the knowledge and the learning and the resources that you picked up from top schools. And so they want to see a pattern of it. And you shouldn't just be volunteer everywhere or volunteer at the remote area of Guizhou, right? Like everybody who's who wants to do that because that's what they're being told. Do something that's related to what you're interested in, something that's related to yourself. Don't just do what everybody else is doing. 6, cover breadth and depth when choosing these extracurricular activities. This is pretty much the summary of what we just talked about, the former 6 points. Next, 7, network with your high school alumnus. This is important. There's a lot of resources that you can take advantage, not just your brother, sister, uncle, mother, and father. There's a lot. And if you reach out to these alumnus, even, alumnus who have graduated from college, that could be helpful. 8th, join admission officers' high school visits if offered. I think this is important because it shows that you care. It shows that you're interested in a particular school. And then last, visit campus and take a tour. If you have the resources and time and money, go do it. I think it's nice. When I was applying to college, I didn't do it. I didn't even know where Harvard was. But I think it is good to know, the college, the campus, the professors, and, the students there. Moving on to phase 3, reflect and tell what you did and why. This is the part where you're actually writing. If you have done the first phase and phase 1 and 2 well, phase 3 comes naturally. So this is where you delineate your story, when and how to write great essays. And here I think there are 4 maybe steps. One is strategize school application. I know this is very broad and we'll get into that. Second is communicate why high school counselors communicate with your high school counselors effectively. Understand, learn from these people. These are mentors who have known, and this is their job to help you with navigating through the college application process. Third is ask meaningful recommendations, both in and outside of school. Recommendation matters a lot. And a good recommendation letter, I think, is composed of two things. One, it's who's writing it, how important is this person, but also equally, if not more important, is a second point, and that is that the person that's recommending you really needs to know you well. Moving on to the very last point, prepare alumni interviews and third-party interviews early. This is important. I think it's important for American applicants as well as Chinese applicants. Third-party interviews tells about your language capability, but it's also an opportunity for you to demonstrate your interest and passion. Alumni interview is, mostly about, it's a repetition of your essays, and we'll get into that. Sorry, that took a long time to cover this slide. It's an important slide. Alan, you want to take this on?
I think I'm going to take this. Oh.
Yeah, right, go for it.
All right. Thank you, Ben and Rebecca. Now I'm going to talk about when to prepare your college essays and how to prepare them. So first, we usually divide the college application essays into 4 categories. So the most important one, personal statement, and then why major. So if you're going to study biology, so why do you choose biology? And then why school? If you are applying to Harvard, Harvard will ask you, why are you applying to Harvard? And then there are some other supplements. Some school ask for even 8 small essays, just ask you your favorite movies, your favorite books, and some are asking more deep question about social problems. And we're gonna get to that later. So if you are applying to 8 schools, chances are you're going to write about 10 to 20 essays. Most of the time, you will only need to write 1 personal statement, and that's from the Common App. So Common Application gives students 7 options, 7 essay prompts, and you will going to choose one of them and write about it. And we recommend you to start your personal statement as soon as possible, because that's how you're going to tell the story and how you're going to present yourself to the college admission officers. And then there's why major, and I will put this to the second priority, but you also want to start this as soon as possible so that you will know your story and integrate your story into the personal statements as well. And then there's why school. We recommend you to start around August or September after you finalize your college application list. And then the final ones are gonna be the other supplements. So that's all the small essays that you're going to write the last. So we put that to the third priority.
Yeah, I just want to add a few points. So the reason I put personal statement and why major as ASAP, you don't have to start when you're 9th grade, but it's important to start doing phase 1, phase 2, which is thinking about what you might be interested in and also executing on it. And that's why we put ASAP. It's not that you have to write personal statement or why major, but you have to start doing those things. Otherwise, they're fictions, right? Why school? I mean, let's face it, we're all applying to the same schools. So it's not like you have a really special case of why you want to apply to Harvard, right? It's just a good school and a lot of people want to apply. So you don't have to, in my personal opinion, you don't have to, think about why until when you're applying. And same thing is true for other supplements for the same reason.
Yep, thanks, Ben.
Sure.
Get back next page, please. All right, how to prepare for personal statement. So as I mentioned earlier, you will choose one from the 7 prompts. And usually the top school applicants have their personal statement revised for 15 to 20 iterations. So you definitely want to start early to prepare. At first, it's going to be hard. So we recommend you just to do free writing, write about what you have done, what are you thinking, what are you planning to do in the future. And after rounds of iteration and revision, you will find out a story, and then you'll finalize your story angle and how to present yourself to the admission officers. And a great personal statement tells a story that demonstrates your past commitment to your passion and also your internal drive to leverage college education to achieve the long-term goal. And this is what the admission officer want to hear. So now here we have an example. So let's say a student, Jack. Jack joined the varsity soccer team when he was in high school. And after a year of training, he realized that he had learned the most from playing against other schools and wanted to use data analysis to improve. So now he's about junior or sophomore, and now he has taken the AP statistics class at school. And also he used his own time and summer break to take some Coursera courses on his own to learn data analysis. So he reached out to the coach and his stats teacher to analyze the past game data and adjust their training plan according to the statistical analysis. So here you can say Jack's initiative and efforts finally paid off a year after and helped his team enter top 3 in the league for the first time in 10 years. So from this story, you can see the trajectory from a high school freshman and to a successful team member, a leader at school when he was in his junior and senior year. And that's the story of his personal growth and his contribution to the community and the team. And that's a great story that the college admission officer would like to see and would like to welcome students like this to join their community so that he can make further contribution.
So when I first read this case study or a case put out by Alan, I thought it was a really cool example. Imagine what most Chinese students would be applying statistics for, right? The reason, maybe they're good in math. Maybe it's a job that you can find jobs. So it's very practical and applicable. But here, this is based on interest in sports as well as statistics to achieve a common goal that's not necessarily pre-professional. So I think this is a powerful example that is, interesting. And for anybody who has watched the movie Moneyball, this reminds me of that movie Moneyball. And for those who haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I use statistics and stochastic statistics to calculate the range of outcomes of the clinical trials and our probability of success on a daily basis. And so I think this is a great example. And just kind of going back to the second bullet point, a great personal statement tells a story that demonstrates your past commitment to passion and your internal drive to leverage college education to achieve the long-term goal. This is really complicated sentence, right? I mean, it's like, wow, a lot of big words, a lot of passion, a lot of long-term goal. I think the simple way of saying it, maybe another way of saying it is that you have to do something that shows that you know where you're going. And this matters a lot because 4 years of college flies by. And, for people, for example, people like myself, who comes from not rich families, I need to be thinking what I'm interested in and what I'm good at and, how to make a living, but at the same time, also be interesting, right? So I think that's the hard part. And that's also the interesting part that makes you stand out. So, for every challenge, there is, or for every possible difficulty, I think there's also, for every challenge, there's also a really good opportunity. So make sure you have an eye for it.
Yep, thanks, Ben. And now let's move on to why major. So usually admission officer want to see your intellectual curiosity and also the true motivation for the field that you want to study. So a convincing essay should answer the following 3 questions. What have you done to dive deeper into your field of interest? And what drew you into the subject? And at last, how will majoring, say, biology or literature help you achieve your life or career goals? So let's welcome Jack back and let's see how he is going to answer this question. So Jack wants to study stats and computer science in college. And he has taken AP Statistics at high school. So we know he's a driven person and he likes to learn. And also, even better, he has taken 3 college-level programming classes on Coursera on his own time. So he's showing that he's devoting his free time or the fun time to study the hardcore knowledge and skills. And then he took the initiative to apply data analysis skills to help improve team performance. Right, so that's a demonstration of how he's using his deep knowledge to dive even deeper to apply these skills to the real world. And then in the future, he wants to use big data to guide policymakers in combating poverty and global warming. So now we know he's a responsible citizen, and he wants to major in statistics and computer science, not only just to make quick money, but to achieve his life goal, to have a meaning. So having a degree in stats and CS will enable him to understand sophisticated theories and master statistical tools to deliver actionable insights. So here, it's just a few sentences, but he already tell you the 3, his motivation and what he has done. So an essay like this will definitely stand out to the commission, to the admission committee, and he's very likely to be chosen for his story.
I also wanted to add, so you can see from the previous example where he wants to learn stats to help his team to win the championship, right? Now it's elevating to he wanting to use big data to guide policymakers in combating poverty and global warming. Now, if that's true, if that is truly what Jack is interested in, he just elevated himself in a very big way, and it's very powerful. Not everybody have the same, goal, but it is important to sort of, take the initiative, think about what you want to do long term. You don't have to be married to it, but you have to, think about how you want to use this in the future, assuming you're not playing a ball game and, baseball professionally.
Yep, exactly. Now Alan is going to talk about why school.
Thanks, Rod.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you, Ben. So for why school essays, it's kind of quite similar with my why major, but also very different in a way that you want to make yourself, very differentiable, because it's very easy, let's say for Jack, he writes the same level essay or the very similar why school essays to 10 different colleges. That is not helpful. The college admission officers, they want to know why you specifically love that, why you love that school, and they want to know like how much do you know about that school, how much time do you spend researching about the school. So on point 2, you can see here, academic programs are very important. For Jack, he can mention that he really wants to take a certain statistic classes with professor, let's say ABC, that he's super interested in how big data can be applied right now. He can also mention about, he wants to do a research internship with certain professor, how poverty and big data can be connected together. That would be super helpful. Also for Jack, he can mention, what clubs, what activities, what campus activities he wants to do. Let's say he wants to join the big data club to learn more about how to apply visualization for data. Also, it is very important.
He's learning more than just a big data club. It's pretty nerdy, but I guess, if he truly likes it.
Yeah, I mean, that part is pretty cool. I actually went to, 2 of the meetings of the big data club. They are pretty nerdy, but I learned.
We know you're nerdy, Alan. That's why we like you. So.
For sure. So the third point is on campus culture. It is super important for you to understand that college, to understand that campus, to actually understand that city. So for me personally, when I do my application, I always spend 30 minutes, 1 hour to go on the website of that college, that university, to actually look through their activities, their campus culture, their well-known events, well-known figure. Sometimes even to watch some YouTube videos on certain campus activities or certain events last year. That can really help you to understand what is the core culture of that campus, of that university. So together with what Rod has been mentioning about Y major, you really want to make your Y major and Y school 1+1 much larger than 2. You want to make sure that your Y school and your Y major are connected together. A very bad example will be for Jack to say Y school because he wants to apply to Columbia because Columbia is in New York. It's in the center of the fashion and the music world. That has nothing to do with stat, with soccer, with poverty, with CS. That would be a bad example for him to send that essay to Columbia. In fact, he should be writing about how the resources, how the alumni, how being in center of a financial world, economic world, how being able to go to Washington D.C. to maybe listening on Senate committees to join the policymakers. That would be super crucial. A great way to mention it is to actually mention the collaboration between United Nations and Columbia. That can be very helpful to say why I want to go to Columbia too.
And so, might I just add, I think this is very important. Alan was mentioning Columbia. Columbia has economics program that's second to none, and they're in the same building as public policy, the CEPA building, as people say it. So if you knew that for a fact, and if you can take advantage of it, that shows very strongly that you have done research. Not just that New York City is the center of the universe, and Wall Street is is in New York. I remember I had a student that I mentored several years ago. He was looking to Stanford, and I said, "Why do you want to go to Stanford?" He said, "Number one, it has really great weather." Well, I said, "That's true, but everybody will agree to it, but it doesn't show who you are." Second, he said, "You don't have to graduate with a real degree. You can just graduate with undecided." I said, again, that's true, but it's really for people who want to design their own career and academic programs, not just for people who are slacking off, right? So be careful. And I might just add the very last point, which is think about what other students will write and avoid writing the same things, because chances are the admission officers have read and heard everything that you have said. So be interesting, be novel. If you're interesting, even if your logic is a little bit weaker, it shows that you have thought through something. And so, I would strongly recommend you to avoid writing the same things as everybody else on these Y school essays. Sorry, Alan.
Oh, no, a perfect point. As I mentioned, you don't want to be the 99% people. Like, you want to be the 1%. You want to write something different, something impressive, and something interesting for sure. Yes.
To speed up a little bit more. I think we ran out of time already.
Okay, cool, perfect. So as Ben mentioned, you want to make yourself very interesting. These are some of the tough other supplement questions mentioned, in the application season. And I do want to highlight one thing here. For Chicago, the question is what can actually be divided by 0. So for here, you don't need to think about the math part. I mean, you can, but you don't have to limit yourself to that. You can also, argue, or you can even define what do you mean by divided. What do you mean by 0? So there's a lot of space you can talk about. Be fun. I mean, be interesting. Have fun doing it. Make a nice impression, and to remember to call back on your Y schools, your personal statements, your Y majors to make 1+1 much larger than 2.
Alan, you really like the 1+1 larger than 2, I noticed.
I'm loving it.
Okay. All right. So the last slide, again, we came up with sort of 2 made up applicant. One is Nick, one is Jack. So Nick, a personal statement, he's been interested in history for years and is the vice president of his high school history club. He plays the violin at school orchestra and has been on multiple tours. Why major? He wants to major in economics because he wants to learn how central banks and the government develop economic policy during crises. There seem to be so many crises, as of late. Why school? He wants to attend Columbia University because he loved the metro life and enjoyed cultural diversity. So that's Nick. And so the parents and the students who are listening in, think about which one may be more interesting and have a competitive edge to get into the school. Now, Jack, personal statement, he's been playing soccer since young and joined varsity team in high school. I used to what I learned in class and online to apply data analysis in soccer training, eventually helping the team prevail in state championship. Why major? He wants to double major in statistics and computer science to develop model and tools that empower policymakers to better combat poverty and global warming. I think this is an example from the previous pages. And why school? He wants to also attend Columbia University to hone his technical skills while taking advantage of the specific program to work with community leaders to solve social problems. So I think it's probably not a far-fetched to think that Jack may gain an advantage over Nick because he's more specific in terms of a personal statement. He has done something that's a little bit more interesting than being the president of the history club, playing the violin, something that's very typical, especially for Asian students, right? Chinese students. And then why major? It's a bit more targeted, and the more targeted you are, the better. And also elevating from winning the championship using statistics for baseball to combating poverty and global warming. So something higher up. And then why school? This is not just about, I want to go to New York, as Alan mentioned, because I love the metro life, but it's actually taking advantage of a specific program that's only available maybe at Columbia. Now, I know that's hard, but it's not impossible to find. And these deep research really make a difference. I think we're done. So I guess Q&A, I guess I'll say, application essays are not fictions, right? American admission officers are looking for evidence, based facts that have shown who you are. And if you don't prepare early, you will be scratching your head to come up with superfluous platitudes, and that's never good. So start early, not with your essays, but with your essay contents. That's it.
Thank you very much, Rod and Ellen and Ben. So for all the families and friends online, what you have just heard from the team is really an overarching strategy, as well as some of the key know-hows. How do you plan? How do you write a personal statement or additional supplemental essays for the school and really presenting yourself? So for the next 5 to 10 minutes, what we will be talking about is really how Kairos will be providing all the resources as well as step-by-step plan so that we can hold your hands and take you through the journey. You can get into the dream college with ease and confidence. So let me just talk a little bit what you will see if you are becoming the member of Kairos.ai. From the leftmost side, you will actually have a community where you have educators, other students, and other parents coming together, share their plan and steps with you. Moving from left to the right, we also provide both products as well as services. On the product side, we have aggregated all the resources you will need. We will be leveraging big data and artificial intelligence to give you a bite-sized college prep know-hows. Now, That alone is not going to be enough. Just because you have the people, you have the resources, still not going to be enough. So the next one on the service side, what we have designed from Kairos side is that we have sprint programs. We run every single quarter, 2 to 3 sprint programs, meaning that every single weekend you will have 2 or 3 or more workshops that will be working with the high schoolers, getting through how to pick summer programs, how do you write your personal essays, so on and so forth. Along with that, we will also be providing monthly counseling sessions, just like what we do today for webinars. We'll actually, in parallel, we'll be conducting monthly counseling sessions. We'll invite highly qualified counselors like Ben's team and other Harvard admissions officers, etc., to provide these know-hows to you on monthly basis. And further than that, we also will be providing a group of highly qualified educators for you to engage with them on one-on-one basis. So between people and the resources and the structured learning, we should be able to provide all the needs that you have. Let me talk a little bit what you will see once you go into Kairos.ai products and services. On the left side, there are 3 ways we'll be working with you on this journey. The first part we call the autopilot, where you will have machine learning and AI guidance week by week, day by day, what you're supposed to do and how do you do it and what goals you will be achieving with that. The next way of delivering the service, we call the menu drive. So if you do have students who are very disciplined, very self-reliant, they can always go into these resources and pull things out that as they need on their own pace. And the third one is to follow our instructor-led services. Like I said, every day, every week, our educators and coaches will be working with you in real time, giving you the guidance and answering the questions you may have, how to do it. Of course, between these 3 ways of engagement and the end goal is to help our high schoolers to get into the dream college that they wanted to, based on their wants and needs, their hopes and dreams, and their weakness and strengths, as well as their personalities. So we do have AI-driven recommendation engine that help the high schoolers truly understand who they are and what they should be doing in order to set the right foundation for lifetime achievement and happiness. Very quickly touch upon the sprint programs. Every quarter you will see we'll be running how to apply for summer programs and internships. How do you prepare for your SAT, ACT test? How do you do scholarship research or financial aid for that matter? And how do you prepare for AP test? Of course, today we spend a lot of time talking about how to write different types of essays that are required by different colleges. And we'll spend more time go into 5-week in-depth essay workshop in July timeframe. Of course, as we get closer to submitting the application package, we'll also have these intense workshops and going through the application process itself and do more test prep. Now, for the monthly counseling sessions, today is just one example, but we have various topics for you to understand how do you pick the right major and the right college, liberal arts versus research. How do you ace the standard test? And of course, to discover your own passion, to ensure your long-term success, we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about selecting extracurricular activities and do project collaborations. Now, towards the end, as you bring everything together, you are going to do letters of recommendations, you're going to polish your resumes, and perhaps going through the interviews and campus visit. Now, for some families who are really interested in finding the best education in the most affordable way, we also have plans for 2+2, so that give you the financial means to achieve the best education that you are looking for. I'm not going to talk too much about the weekly mission here, but I do want to emphasize that for the parents, you are in the knowing space, and our product will provide constant progress report, and so that you know exactly where your children's progress are at. But really, that's still not enough. Knowing is not enough. We are really going to be working on daily basis, on weekly basis, to ensure your child reaches the dream college that he or she desires. Without any further ado, what I would like to show you for the next 5 minutes is to show you what the product looks like. So when you sign in into our product, this is what we call the manual drive.